Begin Albin Bagheri. Yeah. So the Deep Strike landers are in orbit above Anjali. You know what? They're probably in orbit of. Yeah, just Anjali. Um, Albin Bagheri has pre-tech researchers. This is how they're getting all this tech level 5 gear, is because these pre-tech researchers are causing Albin Bagheri's stuff here to do that, but it costs 1 fat cred. -1 fat cred. Pre-tech researchers. And to counter that loss of wealth, I think that they probably need post-tech industry, which lets them make more wealth, right? Is there anything else? What shipping combine do? As transports of larger as an action, can move any non-force asset, including itself. So that just lets them throw stuff around. They really need a way to make money. So I think they're going to need post-tech industry, and I think that's going to be on the desert planet. And that desert planet is called Sampras. What is this faction's goal, anyway? Federal Society's job is to expand its influence. So it wants to take those... It wants to take some unit, right? Maybe it wants to take the Space Marines and their deep strike landers and fly them over to the Herodotus system. They move them from the front at Anjali in the Sus 1 system. They move it to Granados for one turn. They move it to Herodotus at another turn, and then they land on Tyndareus, right? And just basically conquer the planet. That's all there is to it. They're gonna just take it over. And when they have time, when they aren't doing anything else, they can operate this post-tech industry to make money. But before I do this, let me just make sure how this works. So the actions that a faction can take are the following. And new action types. The general rule, factions should be allowed to only do one thing per turn, but it should be able to do it with any or all assets. Okay, so use asset ability is the thing. So post-tech industry is an asset ability. Attack, if it chooses to attack, its organizational moles and its Space Marines can all attack in the same turn. So I think those moles are going to be defending for a little while. We need to get the Space Marines and their deep strike landers over to where they need to go. They're currently defending Anjali, but I think what's going to happen in the fiction is that there was, right on New Year's Day, an enormous battle between the AI and the Federal Society's fleets, and like the Federal Society lost a ton of cruisers. It lost a command carrier. It lost a couple battleships. And so its Space Force is gutted. And that's why they're sending out this covert mission. And by covert mission, I mean what the players are doing. They're in a deniable asset, a stealth ship of sufficient military power, going around solving problems. Because the AI Space Force was decimated. Like, nearly destroyed by this. But it still has some space assets. It's mostly got lots and lots of like ground assets, but no transportation. And now the Federal Society is racing to get to what is the world? It needs to get to the major shipyards, right? It needs to get to Tyndareus, to the Herodotus system. It needs to land on Tyndareus. They need to take over the planet, and they need to use the planet as a launching point against the major shipyards that are in orbit in that system, and take them over. It needs the shipyards to rebuild its fleet before the AI does. So that's its new primary goal. Boom. Nailed it. When it has time, and it won't for a while, they can use that post-tech industry to make more money. For now, they need to hit Tindaris, and they need to get that there. So how do they get a new base of influence? They need to buy a base of influence asset on a planet where they have at least one other asset. Cool. So they can go to Tindaris, and they can drop their Space Marines there, take over the planet, buy a base of influence. Boom. Nailed it. There's no one to even oppose them in that system. Awesome. Doing this hostile takeover is attached to PCs. No, actually, it's not. The PCs are going to have missions based on what I write up as a mission template, which again is going to be influenced by what you, the audience, want to see, and also what the players want to see. And at the end of this faction turn, I'll talk about that again real quick for those people that didn't want to watch the 3 hours of me setting up planetary histories for each of the planets. But yeah, the PC's job, things that they do will make a difference on the factions, but they aren't currently a faction. And while the missions that they receive will probably be slanted toward preparing Tindaris for planetary invasion, there's a lot of other stuff going on. The Federal Society is still fighting the Coalition. They're fighting the Coalition using their moles. They're fighting the AI using moles. They've got embedded units there trying to, bring humanity into a new age. The Coalition of Confederated Systems wants things to stay the same. They don't want people to reach into space. They want to stay in control of their planets. They don't want to join the Federal Society. So yeah, things are happening all over the place for the Society. And the players are going to have missions revolving around that. Now, Thorn Thistle. Thorn Thistle is primarily a wealth. Which seems weird, but I'll explain why. It is trying to gain influence with people. It's trying to destroy them from the inside. It's trying to be super smart about stuff. And it loves making money because it's an AI. It can make money pretty quickly. Alright. Scavenger fleet, what does that let it do? I definitely don't want it to have really powerful military fleets. Particular enormous scavenger fleet can be moved to any world within 3 hexes. Okay, I love the idea of having this in the backfield. This is going to be something that they get. Here is scavenger fleet, and this is located as far away from the front line as possible. It's located in Pereira. This is the defense fleet, basically. This is their only space-based thing that I'm going to let them have. And it's going to be like... it's a ragtag armada of just like... The AI has like taken over ships. And it's all ships that have like human crews that answer to the AI directly. The AI is the ship's computer. Cool. Alright, so now I have 3 more wealth assets. I don't want any of them to be space-based. What's a transit web? Effortless relocation of all assets. For 1 fat cred, any number of non can be moved between any 2 worlds within 3 hexes of the transit web. Thank you for the follow, Kaiser9. Cool dude. Alright. So we're going to set up a transit web. That's going to make things oh no, I can't do that. Because then it makes things too easy for the air, right? It can then just start launching units all over the place. And the rest of the area here isn't ready. I think probably its goal will be eventually to get a transit web to do that, to start launching all its ground-based military units at people without any stop. All right, what's venture capital? As an action, a venture capital can be tapped. Okay, yeah, let's see. Venture capital gains a lot of money. Alright. I think this is going to be all over the place. It's going to be mining stuff. It's going to be gaining stuff. Demetrides. I know that I want a demagogue on Demetrides. Alright, now we need a wealth-based defensive asset. Commodities broker. Let's see here. As an action, the owner of a commodities broker can roll a d8. That many fat creds are subtracted from the cost of their next purchase. Okay. Yep. That works great. That's good, good, good. Yeah. This AI is going to be capable of making a lot of money. Which would make sense for a super powerful, all-knowing AI. Alright. Yep, yep, yep. So when it uses its ability... So think about it this way. When Thorn Thistle faction takes a turn to use its abilities, just with what we have now, each of the venture capitals get to roll to gain money, and then roll to subtract money from the cost of the next. So whenever it's ready to buy an asset, it can just be like, bam, I get a ton of money, and next turn when I buy something, the cost of the asset's reduced by this much, and this also gets some defensive assets all over the place. This is going to go on Eschapolos. All right, now they get 2 more, so I'm going to say that they're going to get 2 cunning. No, they need 3 cunning because they need to make intelligence coups and 1 force. So their cunning is 7. That's wealth. That's not. All right, cunning is 7. Those are not units. That's not a unit either. Popular movement. That's great. Yep, I'm just gonna give them 2 popular movements real quick. One is going to be on the eugenics planet, so let's figure out which one that is. Eschapolos, Preceptor Archive. So Phaistos has a eugenics planet. So they have the popular movement of just... These are like thousands and thousands of humans who love the AI and have formed like a super militia. And if they could get moved around, they can do... Oh, even better. If they move when they buy that transit net, when Thorn Thistle buys a transit net, if they drop a popular movement on a planet, that lets them buy any government-controlled asset. Fantastic. So that's like their plan of attack, right? Make a bunch of money, figure out who's where, and then buy a transit net, throw a popular movement onto a planet, buy a base of influence there immediately, and because they have popular movement, they don't need government permission to buy like a giant starship and just bomb the shit out of the planet. And the people will love them for it because everyone loves the popular movement. Ah, fantastic. This is going to be their attack plan. I should write this down, actually. Okay, so... I should probably write down all this stuff. So these are going to be prep for attack on Kashkai if it is revealed. That's my plan. Exchange of Light is to use its monopoly to attack Space Marines, get money from them. Seductress is moved to Kashkai, uncover the Remembrance Act. Also, that reminds me, all these stealth. Cool. Alright, Powers Institute actually doesn't have a thing yet, but it wants to use its covert transit and blockade runners to launch units to attack at me. But it doesn't do that yet because it's Peaceful Kingdom. Oops. There we go. We need these to... Oops, is this the wrong thing? Yeah. We need these to attack Confederation. Attack Confederation. Take over Tindarius and transport to Tindarius. Yeah, rather than try to remember all this, I definitely want to have it written down because we're only doing this once every 2 weeks. Those give access, that gets money. This is Defense Fleet. This is make cash for attack. Make cash for attack. And launch at a planet to take over planetary government by base of influence and then destroy. Yep, this is a clever AI tactic. So that's Phaistos, and let's put one on Dimitriades. I also want a demagogue on Dimitriades. That will be represented by the head of the eugenics cult. Hope they have access to demagogue. Right? It's not that high up. Is it? Uh-oh. Cunning 6. Okay, good. Demagogue is a fantastic attack unit. Yep. Okay. And those are going to be on Dimitriades as well. And finally, it's going to have a force unit. And it can have a force unit up to level 5. And it's a blockade fleet, of course. Why wouldn't it be? When they successfully hit an enemy faction, they steal 1d4 fact creds from the faction target. Fantastic. So this is like hacking the... When they attack an enemy fleet, right? They hack like the computers because it's an AI. And it gets like records of fleet movements and just intelligence it uses to like stock up on military assets or manipulate the market. This AI is rocking it out, and they're going to be on Eschapolos also as a defensive measure. Fantastic. All right. Is that everybody? I think we're done with that. I think we are done with that. Cool. Let's organize it by A to Z. By owners. Fantastic. Hopefully those all stayed the same. So this is not the same. I want to undo that. Unfortunately, yeah, I'm going to have to leave it like this. But. Yeah. So what's going to happen is next time I have a GM turn, which will be after 1 month of in-game time passes, I will roll a die, right? We take the faction turn. Roll a die that's no smaller than the faction. So I'm going to roll a die that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-sided. That will pick which faction goes first. Then I roll a d2 to see which faction, whether it goes up or down. Now, normally it only goes down, but I've been thinking, when I was thinking of prepping this, that it should also go in a different direction or to scramble things. And when I saw during the GM prep for Swan Song that Adam Cobell did a D2 to make it go up or down, I was like, yeah, this is definitely going to happen. Is the AI going to be the big bad of the campaign? Well, yes and no. It's my intention that the AI is the big bad, but the missions are decided by the people. So this is a mock faction turn. I would roll d7. One of these factions would go first, and we'd figure out whether the turn order is going up or down. At the beginning of a faction's turn, it gets a number of income equal. It gets a number of fact creds equal to its income. I think they all start with 0 right now. Some of them will have to pay out. Then it can take 1 action towards its goal. So, let's say, let's roll a d7 and see who gets it, and we'll figure things out from there. Boom. The first attacking asset, or the first person to make a move, is going to be Thorn Thistle, and the thing goes down. So Federal Society acts last, because it's going to be Thorn Thistle, Rusina, all that stuff. Okay, Thorn Thistle would go first. It gets 7 cash, and then it needs to make an intelligence coup. It needs to destroy a number of cunning assets of rival factions. On one of its planets, we happen to know that the Federal Society has a cunning asset, an organizational mole on Surotama. And also on Surutama, they have. Oh no, not Surutama. We don't want that. On Eschapolos. On Eschapolos, Thorn Thistle can defend with. See here. It's got a blockade fleet, which you could use to attack with. It's also got a commodities broker to attack with. And that has a 2d8 hit, and if it's attacked, it gets a 1d8 back. So we could be looking at commodities versus organizational moles. So here's how I see it as. The AI has control of the planet. It's manipulating the stock market, but within the stockbrokers, the Federal Society has shady, shadowy, Enron type corporations, like shell corporations. It's set up to mess with the planetary market. And so the AI is using its commodities brokers to right that correction, to force these shell corporations to reveal themselves and then to run them out of assets, to literally drain the money out of them. And that would complete its goal while doing a bunch of cool stuff for it. Yeah. All right. So that would be just one part of the faction turn. Now we need to talk about missions. So the night does not end yet. We had one mission suggestion from Murgroka. All right. We've also got these fantastic mission ideas based on things you can roll for, adventure seeds. So I think there's some other missions that I know the players want to see. So mission idea number 2 is going to be a raid. And this is going to be anywhere versus anyone. And the mission is ship boarding. Removing a asset from a ship in transit and taking them to capital. World Banon. So this would be like smuggling someone off planet. They would have to determine when that person was leaving the planet, in what ship, then fight that ship and take it over, get that person back on their ship, then exit the system before they're destroyed, and make it back without anybody else messing with them. And if any of you audience members or anyone at home on YouTube wants to leave a comment in the YouTube comments about mission ideas, I'm totally accepting of them. Not only will you guys be voting on which missions we have as options, but you can tell me what missions you'd like to see. This is one that I'd like to see, is mercantilism. And this will specifically be on a certain planet. And I think that planet is definitely going to be whichever one is, it's going to be on Surutama. Or maybe Eurymedon. I like the idea of it being on Eurymedon. Let's do that. Okay. Eurymedon. What they need is to break the communist government up via selling the government. Okay, so they need to land, pretend to be free traders, sell the government breaker guns. What are breaker guns? They are gravitic cannons that deflect things approaching a planet. So you shoot a laser at a planet, the gravitic breaker gun redirects gravity in the area, so the laser just loops back around and shoots off into space. Try to launch an asteroid from space onto the planet, breaker gun, boom, goes another direction. So these are defensive measures. So they need to sell breaker guns. While doing that, they infiltrate local mercantile concerns, gain a local factor. This is someone, so a merchant factor is someone on a planet who represents a off-world or well, let's use a modern day thing. Before world communication, you would have a factor. So a shipping company in England would have a factor in America in like the 1600s. And that person would be responsible for talking to the locals and making sure the locals don't dump all your tea in the harbor. You know, The locals don't like you. They don't like your company, but they like you because you're one of them. That's what a factor is. It's one of the locals who makes things better and smoother and is responsible for everything that happens. They need to gain a local factor, get local crime bosses on their side, aka the unions, and government support behind breaker guns. Now, once they have these guns, the end goal is to start a resistance movement that is pro federal society. So this is, they're going in pretending to be traitors, pretending to sell something the planet really wants, but in reality they're attempting to destroy the planet from the inside by making them pro federal society. I think this could be a really cool multi-episode mission. But you guys are the ones voting on the missions, so we'll figure that one out. You know what? This is a great time to talk about when that's going to happen. So, I have a rough idea for the first mission the players will face in the first episode. Obviously, it's not going to be a 4-hour episode. Well, it is going to be a 4-hour episode, but most of it's going to be, like the first hour is going to be character creation, ship creation. We've got to finish making the ship. Then we need to talk about everybody's rank and place on the ship, talk about the department mechanics, go over everything about Stars Without Numbers that you, the audience, and the players might need to know. So it's not going to be a full 4-hour mission. At the end of the week, or I'm sorry, at the end of the show, I'm going to provide on the wiki that I've set up, and again, the wiki link is going to be in the YouTube description of the first video for the GM prep and the first video for the faction turn. So you should be able to find it easily. And then just bookmark it. And at the beginning and end video of each of these videos, or each week, I'll ask Henley to throw a link up. But on the wiki, there will be a link to that week's episode, a straw poll, where you'll vote which missions you'd like to see, and the top 2 or 3 winners will be what's presented to the players. So I think I talked a lot. Let me summarize it so I don't sound like a crazy person. At the end of every episode, there will be a link where you can vote, decide what missions you, the players, would like, or you, the audience, would like to see the players attempt. And then at the beginning of every episode, the players will vote on which plan from Fleet Command, aka which mission, they would like to undertake. Okay, so we've got the raid. Let's work on getting missions from Skyward Steel. Where are the Skyward Steel mission ideas? Nope, that's the departments. Battle stations, naval training packages. Oh, those are the mission ideas right there. Interstellar Troubles. Alright, I'm going to have to open the thingy back up. The thing is now reopened. Okay. We're going to take 5 planets. 5 troublesome planets that can... Oh, you know what? Oh yeah, we do have this problem. Yeah, we have that right there. That was the mission for the 2 planets that are at war that are using a 3rd planet as the battleground. Figure out which one will get the spike drive. Okay, so I'll tell you what. I know we got a couple people in chat here. I know we got Jim and Gamer Siren primarily, and I think I saw a couple other folks around. If someone knows any planet that while they've been watching they thought was pretty interesting, let me know, and we will definitely use that planet as a base. So here's a list of the planets. I can try to zoom in any further if you'd like. Just take a minute to look at it and tell me if anything you've heard so far sounds pretty cool. And if no one answers, I'll just have to start picking planets at random using some dice. So I'm gonna stop talking for a couple seconds.